here, back with one of your ISC classes. Today I shall be discussing Tempest, particularly Tempest Act 4 Scene 1. Today I shall be going through half of it. This is the first part of my video lectures in terms of Act 4 Scene 1. There will be the second part where I shall cover the remaining part of it. This, as you can see, I have written here, covers lines 1 to 140. I shall be in this video discussing these lines from here to here. The scene, as you know, is set before Prospero's cell, and the characters, of course, Prospero, the central character, Miranda, Ariel, Ferdinand, these are there. But herein you will have a mask, wherein you will have some new characters introduced. These new characters of the spirits are: number 1, Iris. Iris is a rainbow, and she is also the messenger of Juno, the principal goddess. Okay, these are the characters. Number 2 is Ceres. Ceres is the goddess of fertility and abundance. All the prosperity of nature and everything is due to, according to Roman mythology, Greek mythology, it's Ceres. Juno, wife of Jupiter, chief female goddess. Juno is the counterpart. She is the wife of Jupiter. Jupiter is the principal god, and Juno is the principal goddess. She is the queen, and Jupiter is the king. Okay, so these are the basic characters. Let's go into the text. Have your text before you and take down notes as I go on. Okay. So it starts with before Prospero's cell. Enter Prospero, Ferdinand, and Miranda. Prospero: if I have too austerely punished you, your compensation make amends. For I have given you here a third of mine own life, or that for which I live. That means Prospero here goes back into the past. That's a few hours ago. He had subjected, if you remember, Ferdinand to a lot of hardships. Ferdinand had been subjected to carrying logs and treated very badly, intentionally, of course, by Prospero, just to test how much he actually loves Miranda. So that's what he's referring to here. He's saying, if I have to punish you too austerely, that is, austerely means very harshly. Your compensation make amends. I am now going to make compensation to you. For I have given you here a third of mine own life. Just before this scene, if you remember, he has handed over Miranda to him. So he has said, I have handed you over Miranda, who is literally 1/3 of his life. Or that for which I live. That for which I live means she is the only reason why I am alive, and that reason I have given to you. So that is what it says, that whatever punishment, whatever hardships I have made you suffer, I have made amends to you already. Who once again I tender to thy hand. Once again means already it is done. So here again I tender her to you. All thy vexation were but my trials of thy love. Vexations means all the hardships which you endured. They were all tests. They were all just a kind of a means of testing how much you love all these hardships. Trials of thy love, and thou hast strangely stood the test. How has he passed the test? He has passed the test very well. He has passed out that test which has been taken by Prospero very, very well, and as a result he has got the reward. He has got the hand of Miranda. Before heaven, this is before heaven. Here I ratify this my rich gift. Ratify means I confirm. I keep heavens, the skies as witness, and I hand you over Miranda to you. And herefore heaven I ratify this my rich gift. O Ferdinand, do not smile at me that I boast her off. For thou shalt find she will outstrip all praise. Boast her of means, you may think that I am boasting about her qualities when I say very highly about her, but don't smile. Why? Because you shall find she will outstrip all praise. She will be leaving all these praises behind. Like suppose I say she is 80% beautiful, you will find she is actually 90% beautiful. So whatever, if I say she is 90% honest, you will find that she is 95% honest. So whatever praise, whatever good things I say about her, you will find it lagging behind or straying behind. and make it halt behind her. That's what I said. It makes it halt behind her. That is whatever praise I have made, it is very on a much lower scale. She's actually much better than that. Ferdinand replies, I do believe it. Against an oracle. Oracle means an heavenly proclamation. Even if the heavens or the gods come, or the heavens proclaim that whatever Prospero is saying is wrong, still I won't believe it. That is what Ferdinand says. Prospero. Then as my gift and thine own acquisition worthily purchased, take my daughter. So whatever you have worthily acquired, rightfully deserve it, you take. Sit then and talk with her. She is thine own. What Ariel? My industrious servant Ariel. So then Ariel comes in and Ariel talks. What would my potent master? Here I am. So Ariel, as you know, is invisible. Ariel comes, and just as Ferdinand and Miranda talk, he goes aside and talks to Ariel and says, yes. And Ariel says, yes, master, you have called me. Prospero. Thou and thy meaner fellows, your last service did worthily perform. Whatever last service he had done, he had given them with regard to that disappearance of the food and all that. So they had all done it very well. So he says, you have done all that very well. And I must use in such another trick. Go, bring the rabble. So go, bring your followers, bring all your other spirits. I want them to perform another trick. Over whom I give the power. So I'm giving you power to bring them all here. Here to this place. Incite them to quick motion. Tell them to come very quickly. For I must bestow upon the eyes of this young couple some vanity of my art. So this young couple, they have just now been kind of ratified by me to be married, and I want to show some illusion, some magic to them, to lift up their spirits and to make them happy. So I want some kind of spectacle to be performed. That's why I need your help. It is my promise, and they expect it from me. They expect it from me means me being so good a magician. They expect some kind of show from me, magical show, magical performance from me, and it is quite expected. So I will do that. Ariel, presently? Within a twink. He says, yes, of course, within a twink. Come quickly, he says. Before you can say come and go and breathe twice and say and cry so, each one tripping on his stool will be here with mop and mow. He says, before you can, so he gives a rhyming song which he says that everyone, all these spirits will obey you and will come tripping over quickly as they can to obey your command. Prospero. Dearly, he says, yes, quickly. Now come, my Ariel, bring. Prospero instructs them and says, now come, my Ariel, bring forward the ring, rather than want a spirit appear and partly. Tell these spirits to come quickly and perform their magic, whatever I have told them to do. No tongues, all eyes, be silent. And he instructs Ferdinand and Miranda, be quiet. Do not utter. No tongues means do not make any sound. Watch carefully with your eyes. That's what it says. Be silent. Enter Iris. Iris, as you know, is the rainbow and also the messenger of the goddess Juno. He comes and calls Ceres and says to Ceres, Ceres, most bounteous lady. Most bounteous lady means you are the goddess of fruitfulness. You are the goddess of fruitfulness, of bounty. Thy rich deals, that's rich fields of wheat, rye, barley, vetches. Vetches means it's beans and oats and peas. All these you leave behind. The turfy mountain means grass-covered mountains where live nibbling sheep. The sheep nibble on it. The flat meads thatched with stover, them to keep. Thatched with stover, the flat meadows are filled with or covered with coarse grass. Okay, and they are fed to the cattle. So you leave all that, them to keep, leave it aside. Thy banks with peoned and twilled brims. Peoned means it's covered. The banks of these lakes and ponds are covered, and twilled brims, that is marsh. It's marshy marigolds, and then there are reeds. All these cover the ponds and the lakes. With spongy April at thy hest to be trims. Spongy April means rainy April. Yeah, probably refers to the summer in England wherein you have rains. So spongy April, that is rainy April. At thy hest betrims. Betrims means brings forth. Who brings forth all this vegetation? It is April. And who instructs April to do that? Ceres, of course. To make old nymphs chaste crowns. And old nymphs make chaste crowns out of it. Of these flowers and wreaths, they make crowns for themselves as decorations. And who are these old nymphs? The maids who have not fallen in love. That's why they are referred to as old. And thy broom groves. Broom groves means the groves where there are broom trees growing a lot, and these places are generally loved by the lovers actually, particularly the sad lovers who are rejected in love. That's what he says. Whose shadow the dismissed bachelor loves, being last lorn. So the dismissed bachelor, the bachelor who has been rejected in love, he is last lorn. Last lorn means he is rejected in love. The beloved has rejected him, so he loves these places to come and be sad. Just like the willow trees, the sad lover goes to the willow trees. Similarly, this broom groves also. Thy pole-clipped vineyard. Pole-clipped vineyard, of course, vineyards need pole support. They need some kind of structure, strong structure on which to climb. You leave that behind. And thy sea march, sterile and rocky hard, where thou thyself dost err. Sea march means the edge of the sea. There is the seashore, which is sterile, of course, barren, and rocky hard with rocks and all that. Where thou thyself dost err. You yourself wander around in these places. You love to enjoy the seaside, just as we often go to the seaside to enjoy a good time by the seashore. So she also does that. The queen of the sky, whose watery arch and messenger I am. Queen of the sky, again, Juno, queen of the sky. Reference, whose watery arch and messenger I am. I am the watery arch, the rainbow, watery arch. So here Iris refers to itself as the watery arch and the messenger. Bids thee leave these, that is Juno, the goddess. She instructs you to leave all these. And with her sovereign grace, and with her, that is Juno, you come here on this grass plot, in this very place, to come and sport. It is for you to come here with her. She is also coming. Her peacocks fly amain. Amain means they are coming very swiftly, very quickly. Approach, it says, her to entertain. Please come and attend to herself. She is the fine goddess, and you are asked to attend. Enter Ceres. No, Ceres enters. Ceres, hail, many-colored messenger, that never dost disobey the wife of Jupiter. He says, you are the many-colored messenger, of course, rainbow, many-colored, that never does disobey the wife of Jupiter. You are the rainbow, you never disobey the wife of Jupiter, that is Juno, who with thy saffron wings upon my flowers diffuses honey drops. You with these saffron wings of yours, what do? You diffuse honey drops on my flowers, that is the dew. Refreshing showers, that is also brought by you, and with each end of thy blue bow dost crown my bosky acres. The woody fields are crowned by all this blue that you give out. And my unshrubbed down, the low flat shrubs, you decorate it with the blue. The rich scarf to my proud earth. The rainbow is kind of the scarf of the earth. That's what it is. Why hath thy queen summoned me hither to this short grass green? So now there is a question, why has she called me here to this short grass green? Iris replies, a contract of true love to celebrate and some donation freely to estate on the blessed lovers. He says this is a contract of true love which is made here, and we are asked to make donations. What are the donations? The donations are blessings and all kind of good things to say, to be said to this couple on these blessed lovers. That's Ferdinand and Leonina. Ceres, tell me, heavenly bow, if Venus or her son, as thou dost know, do now attend the queen. One thing she wants to know from Iris. Do you know whether Venus, the goddess of love, and her son, that is Cupid, does thou know they do now attend the queen? Are they attending with the queen? Do you know that? Since they did plot the means that dusky Dis, my daughter, got her and her blind boy's scandal company, I have foresworn. So here's the backdrop story actually. Okay, what is the backdrop story? The backdrop story is Dis, that is Pluto, the god of the underworld. He was so dark and so terrible to look at, no one was ready to marry. So he kind of kidnapped Proserpina, the daughter of Ceres, and went to the underworld. And It is said that Venus and Cupid played a role. They shot in their love arrows, particularly Cupid shot his love arrows, and that made Dis or Pluto fall in love with Proserpina. So that's in a way she regards, Ceres regards in a way Pluto and Venus to be responsible for this kidnapping, and that's why she has shunned, she has stayed away from their company. She doesn't want to be in their company. So that's why she asks that, do you know that whether they are coming with Venus or not? Since they did plot the means that dusky disk, dusky means the dark Pluto, which is dark, god of the underworld. My daughter got her and her blind son scandal company. I have forsworn. I have kind of decided to leave out the company of Venus and her son Cupid. Iris, of a society be not afraid. So Iris says, be not afraid of a society. I met her deity cutting the clouds towards Paphos, and her son dove drawn with her. So don't worry about them. Iris says they are not coming here. I have seen them moving across the clouds towards Paphos, which is the birthplace of Venus. I have seen them going in that direction. Together with Venus, the goddess of love, is her son. That is Cupid also is there. Dove drawn. That is the doves are drawing the chariot of his. Here thought they to have done some wanton charm upon this man and maid, ere Hymen's torch be lighted. They wanted to do some kind of mischief over here. They wanted these two lovers, that is Ferdinand and Miranda, to indulge in some kind of a relationship. But unfortunately, before marriage, before Hymen's torch is lighted, that is before the marriage takes place, they wanted Ferdinand and Miranda to indulge in some kind of physical relationship. But that didn't take place. But in vain. That is why they failed. Mars's hot minion is returned again. Mars hot minion, that is Venus, has become very hot-headed and returned. Her waspish-headed Mars's hot minion is returned again. Her waspish-headed son had broke his arrows, swears he will shoot no more. So Mars's Venus has got very angry, and Cupid is also very angry at being unsuccessful, both of them. And he has sworn that he will not shoot any more arrows, but play with sparrows and be a boy right out. And he will be a boy of his age and play with sparrows and do such things which other boys of his age do. Ceres, highest queen of state, great Juno comes, I know her by her gait. So Ceres says, here comes Juno, and I know her by her gait. Now G-A-I-T, gait means manner of walking. The way she is walking, I know by her stately appearance that she has come. And Juno, how does my bounteous sister means generous sister, a sister Ceres, who is known to be very bountiful. How are you? Go with me to bless this twain, that they may prosperous be, and honored in their issue. So come with me, let us bless this new couple, so that they may be bounteous, so that they may be blessed with plenty. Now song takes place. Juno, honor, riches, marriage blessing, long continuous and increasing. That is honor, you get. Number 2, riches, marriage blessings we give, long continuance, long life, and increasing and going on. Hourly joys be still upon you. You enjoy every hour, you get joy in your life. Juno sings her blessings on you. So I bless you, I as Juno bless you like this. Says, now it gives her blessings. Earth's increase and foison plenty. Foison plenty means abundance, and plenty is all that you will get from this earth. I guarantee you this, I promise you this. Barns and garners never empty. Garners means stores. Barns and stores will never empty. Your barns, your stores will never be empty. Vines and clustering bunches growing. Vines will be continuously growing. In large bunches you will have all kind of fruits and vegetables that will be grown. Plants with goodly burden bowing. Plants that you will plant will have a lot of fruits and flowers, and they will bend down with it. Spring come to you at the farthest. Spring will stay continuous. Spring will go on. That's the most enjoyable season, so it will go on. In the very end of harvest, so it will go on, and you will enjoy very, very good harvest. Scarcity and want shall shun you. You shall not enjoy, you shall not face any kind of scarcity, any kind of want. Ceres' blessings, so is on you. So in this way, Ceres, I bless you. Ferdinand replies, this is the most majestic vision and harmoniously charming. May I be bold to think these spirits? He says, what are these? These are spirits. These are harmoniously charming. These are magically melodious kind of things which I have seen before me. May I behold them to think these spirits are the spirits. Prosper. Spirits, which by mine art I have formed their confines, called to enact my present fancies. Of course they are spirits, but I have called them from their confines, from their limits, from their boundaries, from their places. I have called them over to perform here at my request. 49. Let me live here ever. So rare a wondered father and a wise makes this place paradise. He says, what a wonder working father-in-law I have. Let me stay in this place and let me enjoy. This place is just paradise. Juno and Ceres whisper and said, Iris on employment, Prospero sweet. Now silence. He said, wait, I told you not to talk. Quiet. Juno and Ceres whisper seriously. There's something else to do. Hush and be mute, or else our spell is marred. He says, be quiet. They're whispering something. Ceres and Juno. Hush and be mute, or else our spell is marred. Our spell will be destroyed totally. So wait. Iris. Your nymphs called Naiads of the wandering brooks, with your sedged crown and ever harmless looks. Leave your crisp channels and on this land answer your summons. He says, your nymphs, you nymphs called Naiads, you nymphs, you come here. Of the wandering brooks, you wander about on the brooks, on the wandering streams, you come here. On the running streams, you come here. With your sedged crowns, the chaplets of sedge that you are wearing on your heads, come here. And ever harmless looks. Of course, nymphs are very gentle creatures, they have harmless looks. Leave your crisp channels, all those crisp channels, wrinkled small rivulets and brooks, you leave all that and come here. On this green land, answer your summons, I am calling you, come here. Juno does command, come temperate nymphs, you chaste nymphs, you pure virgin nymphs, you come here and help to celebrate a contract of true love. Be not too late, don't be late, come here immediately, I am calling you, I, goddess Juno, I am calling you, so you are come. Enter certain nymphs. You sunburned sickle men of August weary. Now she addresses the Iris addresses whom? The farmers. Burnt sickle. The sickle is that half moon kind of tool with which they cut the harvest. So you sickle men of August weary. August weary means in the month of August they are tired out of harvesting and cutting the crops. So you are weary in the August heat. Come hither from the furrow and be merry. From the furrowed land, the plowed land, come and be merry, be happy. Make holiday. Your rye straw hats put on your rye straw hats. And these fresh nymphs encounter everyone in country footing. And each of you take a nymph and engage in a country folk dance together to celebrate. Enter certain reapers properly habited. They join with the nymphs in a graceful dance. So a graceful folk dance of the countryside is played out or enacted. Towards the end whereof Prospero starts suddenly and speaks. After which, to a strange, hollow and confused noise, they heavily vanish. Suddenly Prospero starts. He suddenly remembers something. And then there is a strange, hollow and confused noise. And they heavily vanish. They quickly leave the scene. Prospero aside. This is what Prospero says in mind. I had forgot that foul conspiracy of the beast Caliban and his confederates against my life. He says in this all this celebration I had forgotten one important thing, and that is the conspiracy which was chalked out by, if you remember, it's between Caliban, Stephano and Trinculo. So that conspiracy I have forgotten. It is a conspiracy against my life. I have forgotten that. The minute of their plot is almost come. The time for the enactment of their plot is just about arrived. To the spirits, well done, avoid no more. He thanks the spirits and said, well done, now leave. Ferdinand, this is strange. Your father's in some passion that works him strongly. He says, I don't know what happened to your father. Suddenly out of all this enjoyment, suddenly the enjoyment stopped without a proper ending and conclusion. In the middle, suddenly he stopped everything. What happened? Something very strong, some very strong emotion is affecting him, I think. Miranda, never till this day saw I him touched with anger, so distempered. He says, I never saw him so distracted in my life ever. So far as I have seen him on this island, I have never seen him so distracted except for today and just now, just as he has behaved. Prospero, you do look, my son, in a moved sword, as if you are dismayed. Be cheerful, sir. He says, you are dismayed that I suddenly stopped this show and everything. Relax. Be cheerful, sir. Our revels now are ended. All this revelry, all this celebration has now come to an end. These our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air. All these characters that you saw playing out in this particular mask are all spirits, and so they have vanished into thin air. And like the baseless fabric of this fashion, and now the things get very philosophical, very important lines. Baseless fabric of this fashion, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself. And just as this vision is very, very kind of unrealistic, similarly, nothing in this world is realistic and real. Although these cloud-capped towers, the high towers, the gorgeous palaces, the temples, the great globe, in fact the whole earth itself may appear to be alive and may appear to be something tangible to you at present. Actually it is nothing. It's all will soon vanish into thin air as it is. And why, he says, goes on, yeah, all which it inherit shall dissolve, and like this insubstantial, patient, faded, leave not a wreck behind. And remember, all these things of this world that are there, it shall dissolve. This insubstantial patient shall fade away. It shall go away. And leave not a wreck behind. Leave not a single atom behind. So all these things of this world will go away one time or the other. In this context, I refer to one poem, Ozymandias. I think it's by P.B. Shelley. So if you read that poem, also is about there's a big statue of Ozymandias, the King of Kings, and then with the passage of time, that statue is reduced to dust. No one remembers. So that's what he says here. That's kind of same kind of a viewpoint being expressed here also. That insubstantial patient of the show is similar to what is the show of our life also. We are such stuff as dreams are made of, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. So we are literally living a life which is actually a dream. Okay, our little life is rounded with a sleep. That is, we wake up from our sleep, start our life. That is the point at which we are born, and then the point at which we die. After that again we go into sleep. So in between the period, it's like a dream that we are living actually. Just as we see a dream in our sleep, similarly this is also kind of a dream that we are actually living in our life. So this life itself is like a dream that you are living. So that's why our life is rounded with a sleep. It says, we are such stuffs as dreams are made on, and our little life is a dream. It's all a momentary interval of movement in our ending sleep. So momentary time when we get up or we are seeing a dream. That's what is being said here. Sir, I am vexed. Bear with my weakness. He says, sorry, I am beset with a lot of care and anxieties. Bear with me. Please cooperate with me. My old brain is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmity. This weakness, let it not disturb you anymore. If you be pleased to retire to my cell and there repose. Please rest in my cell. You go there. A turn or two I will walk to still my beating mind. The disturbance in my mind, I will pacify it by taking a walk around. Just that. Ferdinand, Miranda. We wish your peace, both of them telling to have peace. He says, may your mind be pacified, Prospero. Come with a thought. I thank the Ariel. Come. So he calls to Ariel, and that's up to the time that I will do today. Hope to see you in the next video, in the second part of it. And of course, if you like it, continue watching. Support by share, subscribe, and of course like this video if you like it. Right? If you have anything to ask, write it in the comment sections. And of course, wait for the second part, which is coming very soon.